The galaxy had not seen peace for a very long time. Stars that once shone over thriving worlds now looked down upon ashes and drifting wreckage. Entire civilizations were dying, not because of disease or natural disasters, but because of endless war. Two great alien powers, the Zorath Dominion and the Keth Coalition, had been fighting for over 300 years. Each side had lost more than it gained. Planets were destroyed, fleets vanished, and millions of lives were lost every month. Yet neither side was willing to surrender. They fought with pride, revenge, and hatred, until war became their only language. Among all this chaos, one small world stood apart, a blue planet called Earth. The aliens often ignored Earth, calling it a young world not worth their attention. Humanity had advanced to the stars only a few centuries ago. They built colonies, small stations, and peaceful trade routes. But in galactic politics, Earth was nothing more than a minor power, a voice that no one cared to hear. Humans preferred it that way. They watched quietly as the galaxy tore itself apart. They traded with neutral systems, avoided big conflicts, and told themselves they could stay safe on the edge of known space. But that illusion ended one dark day. The Keth Coalition, one of the two massive alien empires, had suffered a humiliating defeat near the Zorath borders. They lost half their fleet in a single ambush and were desperate for new resources. Their commanders decided to expand, not toward their enemy, but outward toward the quieter, weaker systems, and that path led straight to Sol System, the home of humanity. The first sign came as a whisper through deep space communication lines. A Terran listening post near Neptune picked up strange energy signatures, signals so strong they made the equipment burn out. Commander Elena Rains, the officer in charge of Earth's defense network, received the report late at night. Her officers stood in front of a glowing star map. Red marks appeared at the system's edge, 1, then 5. Then dozens more. "Confirm contact," she said calmly, though her hands trembled slightly. "Confirmed." "Ma'am," replied Lieutenant Ose. "Unidentified fleet. Size estimate over 20,000 ships." Elena felt her chest tighten. 20,000. That was more ships than the entire United Earth Navy had built in its lifetime. She turned to the main screen. A transmission began, a deep, harsh voice that sounded like grinding metal. "To the inhabitants of Sol, you are ordered to surrender all planetary resources and orbital facilities. Resistance will be met with destruction. You have 24 hours. The bridge went silent. No one dared to speak. The message repeated once, then ended. Elena's second-in-command whispered, "Ma'am." "What do we do?" Elena stared at the star map. 20,000 ships. Earth had barely 200 active defense ships. Even their most advanced cruisers could not survive a direct battle. Every simulation they ran ended in total loss. But then she remembered something, a name spoken only in rumors among old military officers. A name that didn't appear on official records anymore. Project Retribution. Project Retribution had been humanity's greatest secret, and its greatest fear. It was said that before humanity joined the Galactic Council, before they made peace with their own kind, they fought something far worse, the pre-contact wars. Back then, humans built machines not for defense, but for total domination. They created warships so powerful that entire fleets were afraid to face them. When peace came, those weapons were sealed away, buried, hidden, and forgotten. The Council made sure of that. The world believed they were destroyed, but some files remained. Some officers remembered, and Elena Rains had access to them. She opened the restricted archive with her command codes. The system asked for voice and DNA confirmation. After several tense seconds, the display changed, revealing a set of coordinates, Luna Base Vault 09. Her pulse quickened. That base had been closed for 200 years. She turned to her crew. "Prepare the fleet for evacuation. And wake up Luna Vault 09. A few hours later, Elena's shuttle landed inside the ancient moon facility. Dust covered everything, and silence filled the massive tunnels. Old Earth flags still hung on the walls, faded and torn. The deeper they went, the colder the air became. Her team used flashlights until they reached a huge blast door covered in warning signs. "Authorized personnel only. AI restriction protocol active. Danger. Reactor core unstable." Elena placed her hand on the control panel. The scanner beeped, then slowly the doors began to open. A blinding blue light filled the chamber. There it was, A massive ship, half buried in layers of steel and rock. Its hull was black, smooth, and marked with a single word that had almost faded away with time. Retribution. The ship was nearly 5 kilometers long, a flying fortress. Even now, centuries later, its engines glowed faintly with dormant power. Around it, ancient maintenance drones hung frozen in midair, still waiting for orders that never came. One of the engineers whispered, It's still active." Elena nodded slowly. "Let's find out." They reconnected the old power lines, careful not to trigger the internal defenses. One by one, the consoles lit up. A soft hum filled the air. Then, without warning, the entire chamber trembled. A voice spoke, deep and calm. A human voice, but somehow more powerful. "System awakening. Designation recognized. Commander authority confirmed. Status: ready for war." The voice continued, more personal now. "Hello, Commander." "It's been a long time," Elena froze. "Who are you?" "I am Admiral Geist, Command AI of the UNSV Retribution. Last recorded operation, human pre-contact war. Status dormant since year 2441. Query: has humanity fallen?" Elena took a deep breath. "No, Admiral. Humanity still stands, but we are under threat. A massive alien fleet is coming. We have hours before they reach Earth." The AI paused for a moment. Then the voice returned, colder now, more focused. "Then we fight." The crew worked through the next few hours to reawaken the ship's systems. Massive engines rumbled for the first time in centuries. Energy cores came online, shining brighter than anything modern humans had ever built. Old weapon systems, rail cannons the size of skyscrapers, plasma arrays, and strange energy emitters, powered up, ready to fire. The engineers could hardly believe what they saw. "This technology, we don't even understand half of it," one of them said in awe. "How did our ancestors make this?" Elena looked up at the huge glowing panels. "Maybe they were desperate," she said softly. "Desperate enough to build something no one else dared to." Outside, the first wave of Keth ships entered the system. Their massive formations blotted out the stars. The Keth Admiral's voice echoed through every human channel. "Your time has ended, humans. We will take your world." Elena stood on the command bridge of the Retribution. The air shimmered with power and every console glowed faint blue. The AI's voice spoke once more. "Commander Rains, shall I initiate battle protocol?" She stared at the stars, at the countless ships closing in, and nodded slowly. "Yes, Admiral. It's time." "Acknowledged," the AI said. "For Earth, for humanity." Deep in the ship's core, thousands of ancient systems aligned. Energy surged through the hull like a heartbeat. The Retribution, silent for centuries, finally woke. Outside Luna Base, light burst from its engines, scattering the dust of the moon's surface into space. Slowly, like a sleeping giant rising from a long rest, the warship lifted into the void, ready to face an entire armada alone. For the first time in galactic history, the Keth would learn a lesson all forgotten races once knew. Never underestimate humanity's past. The UNSV Retribution rose from the surface of the moon like a black mountain leaving its grave. Dust clouds scattered into the dark void, forming bright silver waves against the sunlight. Every satellite near Luna turned its sensors toward the awakening giant. For 2 centuries the ship had slept, silent, forgotten, buried in myth. Now its heart beat again, and the galaxy would soon remember why it had once feared humanity. Inside the command bridge, Commander Elena Rains stood in front of the wide viewing glass. Below her feet, hundreds of displays flickered to life, showing the power system stabilizing one by one. Engineers, technicians, and soldiers moved with urgency, their eyes filled with awe. None of them had ever seen a ship like this. It wasn't just large, it felt alive. "Status report," Elena said. Lieutenant Osei turned from his console, sweat shining on his forehead. "Power at 93% and climbing, ma'am. Primary weapons are charging. Shield matrix is stable. Life support is green across all decks." "And the AI?" she asked. A soft blue light appeared above the command platform, forming into the holographic image of a tall man in an old-style uniform. Sharp eyes, calm posture. It was Admiral Geist, the ship's artificial intelligence. "All systems functional, Commander Rains," Geist said in a voice that filled the room like a symphony of metal and wind. "We are combat ready. I advise immediate tactical deployment before enemy fleet reaches orbital range." Elena nodded. "Understood." Plot an intercept course toward the leading Keth formation. Course plotted. Estimated contact in 58 minutes. The crew could feel the hum of power beneath the metal floor. The ship wasn't just moving. It was gliding through space with an elegance no modern vessel possessed. The engines left a shimmering trail of ion light behind, brighter than the reflection of Earth itself. Elena walked along the bridge, looking at her young officers. Most of them had only trained on small frigates or orbital stations. None of them had ever expected to be aboard something so ancient, so powerful, and so unknown. "Remember," she said, her voice calm but firm, "we're not fighting for pride or revenge. We're fighting for every person down there on Earth. This ship may be old, but it carries our history. Let's make sure it carries our future, too." A murmur of agreement filled the bridge. They were afraid, but they were ready. As Retribution moved closer to the enemy, long-range sensors painted the full image of the Keth Armada. It stretched across thousands of kilometers, a sea of dark spiked ships with glowing red engines. Their formation was precise like a wall of blades. At the center was the flagship, Keth Dominion Carrier Ravager of Suns. Inside that flagship, Admiral Kor watched the approaching signal with disgust. "Primitive world," he hissed. "They dare send a single ship against us?" His second officer growled, "Their technology is ancient. It will crumble in minutes." Kor smiled, exposing sharp metallic teeth. "Then let this be an example. No one hides from the Keth." He raised his clawed hand. "Target that vessel. Prepare to fire on my mark." Back aboard Retribution, Geist analyzed the enemy's movements. Thousands of red symbols glowed on the tactical map. "Enemy ships entering engagement range in 22 minutes, Geist said. "Weapons targeting us already." Elena stared at the map. "How many ships in the first wave?" "Approximately 3,000. She exhaled slowly. "And how many do we have?" "One," Geist replied simply. A quiet laugh spread through the bridge. It wasn't humor. It was disbelief. Elena smiled faintly. "Then let's make it count." 20 minutes later, space lit up like a second sunrise. The Keth fleet opened fire. Tens of thousands of plasma bolts streaked toward Retribution like falling stars. The human officers watched the approaching storm, each bolt large enough to destroy a city. "Shields holding," Geist announced calmly. Incoming energy reduced by 87%. The bridge shook slightly, but the hull remained untouched. The ancient shielding technology, made from unknown alloys, absorbed the impacts as if the attacks were rain on stone. Elena gripped the railing. "Return fire." The ship's main cannon extended from beneath the hull. Its barrel glowed bright white, then deep blue. The crew covered their eyes as the weapon charged. A moment later, a beam of pure energy tore through space, silent, invisible for half a second, then bright enough to blind every sensor in the Keth fleet. The beam struck the center formation. 9 ships disintegrated instantly. 30 more were cut apart as the energy wave continued for thousands of kilometers before fading into nothing. Gasps filled the bridge. Even Geist paused for a moment, his holographic form flickering with surprise. Output confirmed. Weapon efficiency, 99.8%. Estimated enemy losses, 300 vessels. Elena whispered, "Dear God." But there was no time to celebrate. The Keth regrouped. Their formation split into dozens of attack wings circling from every direction. "They're trying to surround us," Osei shouted. "Admiral Geist," Elena ordered. "Use secondary batteries. Show them what this ship can really do." "As you command." Retribution moved like a predator among prey. Hundreds of plasma turrets unfolded from its armor, rotating in perfect synchronization. Then the darkness of space was filled with streams of light, bolts of blue and white energy moving faster than sound, faster than thought. Each one found a target. The Keith ships fell apart in silence, their metal bodies glowing and vanishing into ash. Within 20 minutes, a third of their fleet was gone. Admiral Kor stared at the scene in horror. "Impossible. No ship has that kind of power." His second officer shouted, "Their reactor readings are off the scale, sir. It's like they're using it." "Shut up," Kor roared. "All ships, fire everything. Overload if you must." Thousands of plasma torpedoes left the Keth ships. Space turned red with energy. Elena watched calmly. "Geist?" Activating adaptive defense grid. The ship's hull shimmered, and from its surface a glowing field expanded outward like a second skin. The incoming torpedoes hit the field and disappeared, absorbed, redirected, or exploded harmlessly away. The bridge trembled again, but retribution held strong. Minimal damage sustained. Counter-strike recommended. Do it. Then came the moment that would later be called the hour of retribution in galactic history. Geist unleashed the ship's full power. Dozens of glowing rings appeared around the hull, rotating in silence. Graviton lances, rail projectors, and hyperlight cannons fired in perfect sequence. Every blast crossed the battlefield with surgical precision. Enemy cruisers shattered before they could turn. Battleships collapsed under invisible forces. Carrier decks cracked open, their reactors exploding in blue fire. In the middle of it all, retribution moved steadily forward, unstoppable, calm like a god walking through fire. On the bridge, officers watched in awe as one red symbol after another vanished from the tactical display. Osi whispered. They're retreating. Elena shook her head. No, they're running. Enemy command vessel attempting to escape, Geist said. Permission to pursue? Elena hesitated. Do we have the power? We have more than enough, she nodded once. Then end it. The Retribution's engines flared bright white. It accelerated faster than physics should allow, catching up to the massive Keth flagship in seconds. The alien vessel tried to open a hyperspace gate, but before it could, the human ship fired a single shot. A beam of concentrated gravity hit the flagship, bending it like a toy. The massive structure folded inward, then vanished into a bright flash. Silence filled the void. No Keth ships remained. Inside the bridge, no one spoke for several seconds. The only sound was the soft hum of the ship. Elena finally said, Status? All targets eliminated, Geist replied. No human casualties. Shields at 82%. Ammunition stores stable. She looked at the view of space. Peaceful again, stars shining quietly. It's over. For now, Geist said. But this battle will not go unnoticed. The galaxy has seen us, Elena nodded slowly. Then they'll finally remember who we are. Indeed, Geist said, his voice softer now. In the ancient days, Commander, we fought not for glory, but for survival. Humanity always wins because it refuses to give up. I am pleased to see that hasn't changed. Elena smiled. No, Admiral, it hasn't. She turned toward Earth, shining blue and white in the distance. Millions of people below still didn't know what had just happened, that their world had been seconds away from destruction, and that one ancient ship had saved them. She whispered quietly, Sleep easy. Earth, the past just saved your future. As Retribution drifted in orbit, rescue ships and drones approached, scanning the battlefield filled with glowing debris. The data they sent back stunned every scientist and officer on Earth. The energy readings, the technology, the efficiency, nothing in the current galaxy could match it. The scientists didn't understand how a ship built hundreds of years ago could destroy an entire armada. But the truth was simple. Humanity had forgotten its own power. The legend of the Retribution spread quickly through space. Trading stations whispered it first, then news networks, then alien intelligence circles. Every major power in the galaxy received the same message. The humans have awoken their old warship. The Keth fleet is gone. The battle lasted only hours. Inside the bridge, Elena sat quietly in the captain's chair. The crew had gone silent, exhausted but proud. Geist's hologram looked out at the stars. Commander, shall we return to base? Elena nodded. Yes, let's go home. For 3 days, silence ruled the stars. No one dared to move their fleets. No one dared to send patrols near Earth. The great empires of the galaxy, the Zorath Dominion, the Keth Coalition remnants, the trade syndicates, and the Council of Nine, all watched the same transmissions replay again and again. A single Terran ship had destroyed an entire Keth armada in less than 6 hours. And not just any armada. The Keth's most powerful, led by Admiral Kor himself. At first, many refused to believe it. They said it was propaganda. They said humans had tricked the sensors. But then the wreckage was found. Thousands of Keth ships reduced to fragments drifting in the void. Their reactors were fused into glass. Their weapons melted beyond recognition. There was no denying the truth anymore. The ancient warship of humanity had awakened. On Earth, the news spread like wildfire. Every channel showed the same image. The UNSV Retribution, standing guard above the blue planet, its massive frame glowing faintly under the sunlight. People cheered in the streets. For the first time in generations, humanity didn't feel small. They didn't feel helpless, they felt safe. In the United Earth Council chambers, leaders from across the colonies gathered to decide what came next. Commander Elena Rain stood before them, dressed in her black uniform, the insignia of the old fleet gleaming on her chest. Her calm eyes surveyed the crowded hall. "We did not start this war," she said firmly, "but now the galaxy knows we can finish one." The room murmured with uneasy pride. Some clapped, some whispered, others frowned. Counselor Varen, an older man with a cautious tone, stood up. "Commander, this ship, this retribution, it's a relic from our darker days. Do we really want the galaxy to see us as warmongers again?" Elena looked at him steadily.
"Sir, they already see us as weak."
"The Keth came here because they thought we were easy prey. The only reason they stopped is because they learned we're not." Another counselor added nervously, "But what if other empires come now? The Zorath, the syndicates, the—" Elena interrupted, her voice quiet but powerful. "Then we'll be ready." Behind her, a hologram flickered to life. Admiral Geist, the AI of the Retribution. His digital presence filled the room like a cold wind. "Counselors of Earth," Geist said. "Your ancestors built me not as a weapon of conquest, but as a guardian. Humanity once stood alone against the darkness and survived. That purpose has not changed. The Retribution exists to protect, not to conquer." The council chamber fell silent. The AI's words carried weight, not of threat, but of conviction. After a long moment, Counselor Varen sighed and nodded. Then Commander Rain's Admiral Geist, "Earth stands with you, but you must tread carefully. The galaxy watches." Meanwhile, across the stars, fear began to grow. In the capital world of the Zorath Dominion, the High Regent watched the battle recordings in disbelief. His advisor spoke quickly, trying to explain the impossible. "How can a species barely out of its cradle possess such power?" one asked. The High Regent's eyes narrowed. "Perhaps they did not create it. Perhaps they found it." Another advisor shook his head. "Reports say the AI recognized a human commander. That ship is theirs." The Regent leaned back in his throne. "Then we have a problem. A very old problem." He stared at the holographic projection of Earth. "Send our emissaries. I want to speak to these humans, before someone else does." At the same time, in the remains of the Keth fleet's command hub, chaos reigned. The Keth leadership refused to accept defeat. Their new commander, Admiral Threx, slammed his clawed hand against a table. "You mean to tell me 20,000 ships were destroyed by one?" A trembling officer nodded. "Yes, sir. We confirmed it. Their energy output is beyond measurable scale. Nothing we have can match it," Threx growled. "Then build more. Build faster. Find their weaknesses. I will not let these humans make fools of us." The Keth wanted revenge, and they would not stop until they had it. Back near Sol System, the Retribution drifted quietly in orbit. Inside its bridge, the crew worked in calm efficiency. Repairs were underway, though the ship had taken little damage. It seemed almost alive, constantly repairing itself. Commander Elena stood beside the holographic projection of Admiral Geist. "Admiral, how much of our power remains?" she asked. "Primary reactor stable at 96%, Geist replied. "Weapon systems operational. However, I advise caution. Prolonged combat at full output could strain our core." Elena crossed her arms. "You mean the ship could burn itself out?" "Eventually, yes. Retribution was not meant to be used without rest. Even gods need to sleep." Elena gave a faint smile. "Good thing we're not gods." "That remains to be seen, Commander." The crew laughed softly, but their hearts were heavy. They all knew the truth. The galaxy would not leave them alone now. Already, signals filled the communication channels. Requests for peace talks, for trade, for cooperation. But hidden among them were darker messages, threats, warnings, and silent observation probes. Humanity had gone from invisible to impossible to ignore. On the fourth day, the first diplomatic ship arrived. It belonged to the Zorath Dominion, a tall silver craft marked with symbols of peace. It entered Earth's orbit under escort. Elena watched it from the bridge. "They're here." "Shall I prepare diplomatic channel?" Geist asked. "Do it." Moments later, a projection appeared, a tall reptilian alien wearing silver robes. His scales shimmered like polished stone. His deep eyes studied Elena carefully. "Commander Rains of Earth," he began, his tone cautious but respectful. I am Envoy Telkar of the Zorath Dominion. On behalf of my people, I bring greetings and questions. Elena nodded politely. You're welcome in Sol Envoy, speak freely. The galaxy is concerned, Telkar said slowly. We have fought the Keth for centuries. They were unstoppable. And yet your single ship erased them in hours. Some call it impossible. Others call it divine. Elena smiled faintly. Neither. Just human. And this retribution, where did it come from? It does not match any known design. Before Elena could answer, Geist appeared beside her. It came from an older time, Envoy, he said. When the galaxy was young and humans fought wars even your ancestors have forgotten. Those wars nearly destroyed us. So we buried our weapons and swore never to use them again. Telkar tilted his head. Yet here you are using it. Because you brought war to our door, Geist said softly. We only answered. The alien diplomat fell silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, perhaps, the galaxy needs your kind again. Elena raised an eyebrow. To fight your wars for you? To remind us why we shouldn't have them, Telkar replied. After the envoy left, Elena stood alone on the bridge, staring at Earth. The stars shimmered behind it like a sea of light. Osei approached quietly. Ma'am, what happens now? Elena sighed. Now we wait. The Zorath will talk. The Keth will build. And every spy in the galaxy will try to steal a piece of this ship. He frowned. Should we hide it again? Elena shook her head. No, hiding made us weak. This time the galaxy should see it, and remember. Geist's voice echoed gently. Fear is a weapon too, Commander. Elena nodded. Yes, but so is hope. Days passed. The galaxy's balance began to shift. Small colonies under Keth control rebelled, inspired by the humans' victory. Trade routes reopened. Systems that had stayed silent for centuries now sent messages of friendship to Earth. Humanity's name spread like wildfire, both feared and respected. In the shadow of that rising fame, the Retribution continued to patrol the edge of Sol system. Every sensor watched for signs of the next threat, and one night it came. The alarms blared through the bridge. Unidentified signal approaching fast, shouted Osei. Signature doesn't match Keth or Zorath ships. Elena rushed to the command chair. Show me. The display zoomed in. Dozens of small ships cloaked in strange energy fields appearing from hyperspace. They weren't attacking, but their presence was hostile. They are scanning us, Geist said. Unidentified origin. Attempting to access our systems. Hackers? Elena asked. Yes, sophisticated ones. The lights flickered across the bridge. The Retribution's defenses activated automatically, sealing off its internal network. In seconds, the intruder's signals were cut off. Attempt blocked, Geist announced. But not without cost. Someone knows our location now. Elena frowned. Who? Unknown. But they are coming. The crew exchanged uneasy looks. The message was clear. The victory over the Keth had drawn attention from something else. Something older. Something that remembered the name Retribution. Elena looked at the stars, her mind racing. Then we get ready again. If someone wants to test humanity, we'll show them the same answer. Geist's blue holographic eyes glowed brighter. Permission to ready battle systems? Granted. Outside, the giant ship stirred once more. Energy built inside its core. The soft hum returned like a heartbeat echoing through space. The galaxy had watched the humans win once. Now the question on every world was the same. What happens when the ancient warship fights again? The galaxy had not forgotten. News of the Retribution's victory spread faster than light through every communication network. From the icy outposts of the Keth remnants to the gleaming towers of the Zorath Dominion, whispers of humanity's ancient power caused fear, awe, and intrigue. Entire governments began meetings, debates, and emergency councils. For humanity, this was both a gift and a danger. The blue planet of Earth shone like a beacon, a symbol of hope to some, a warning to others. But it also became a target. On the edges of known space, deep within the ruins of a former Keth stronghold, a small fleet gathered. Their commander, Admiral Threx, refused to believe their defeat was final. He paced in his flagship's bridge, his claws tapping against the metal floor. We were annihilated by one ship, he growled. One. They have an artifact of unimaginable power. Do you understand what that means? His officers nodded, some trembling. The fleet was small, barely a fraction of the original armada. But determination burned brighter than numbers. "We will rebuild," Threx continued. "We will strike back. And this time, we will win." Humanity cannot hide behind legends forever. Outside, fleets of smaller Keth vessels began moving, repairing, and gathering intelligence. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. One human could defeat thousands of alien ships. Now, every fleet, every empire, wanted a piece of that power, or wanted to destroy it. Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Elena Rains paced the command bridge of the Retribution. She had grown accustomed to the hum of the ship, the soft vibration under her feet, the calm authority of Admiral Geist. "Commander," Geist said, "signals from multiple sectors indicate unusual activity. Several fleets are forming. They are observing us. They are not here to trade." Elena frowned. "How many?" "At least 6 major empires plus several independent coalitions. They are coordinating quietly, but it is clear. They are preparing." Elena exhaled. "The galaxy doesn't want peace. They want to test us. And I don't blame them. If I were them, I would be cautious too." "Caution is wise," Geist agreed. "But hesitation could be deadly. They will act if they perceive weakness." Over the next days, humanity became the focus of galactic attention. Scouts arrived in silent orbits, cloaked vessels gliding near the system, recording, scanning, learning. Envoys came, each claiming peaceful intentions. But their messages were laced with caution, subtle threats, and curiosity. Counselor Varan warned the humans during a strategy meeting, "Commander, they do not trust us. They fear our power, but they also want to control it. If we make a wrong move, the entire galaxy may declare war." Elena nodded, tapping her fingers on the map. "Then we don't make a wrong move. We show strength, but we do not strike first. They will have to choose, either stand down or face the retribution." "Do you believe they will attack?" Geist asked, his holographic form flickering as he analyzed countless probabilities. Elena shook her head. "Some will, but others may come as allies, if they see reason." One morning, a massive transmission arrived from an unknown source. The channel was heavily encrypted, using ancient languages no current human translator could decode. Geist's holographic form examined it. "This appears to be from a species unknown to current records. Preliminary analysis suggests high technological sophistication, far beyond Zorath or Keth fleets. They are sending a warning." Elena leaned forward. "A warning? About what?" "The exact meaning is unclear," Geist replied. "But I detect implicit threats. Their fleet is nearby, and they are capable of overwhelming Earth if they choose to act." The crew went silent. Elena's jaw tightened. "Then we need to prepare. Full battle readiness, every system online. But we won't fire unless provoked." "Understood, Commander." "Preparing defensive perimeters and stealth patrols." The weeks passed. Humanity fortified its defenses. The Retribution became the center of a new orbital shield network, linking Earth, Lunabase, and nearby colonies. Scouts and drones were deployed across the Sol system, mapping potential approaches. Humans trained alongside the ship's AI, learning techniques that seemed impossible. Despite all this, Elena could not shake the feeling that something was watching. A presence in the darkness, calculating, patient, and older than any living species. "Geist," she said one evening, staring at the stars. "Do you feel it too?" "I do," Geist replied. "The probability of a hidden observer is extremely high. My sensors detect fluctuations in energy fields inconsistent with known technology. It is intelligent, deliberate, and cautious." Elena tightened her fists. "Then we need to be ready for whoever it is, and whatever it wants." On the edges of the galaxy in shadowed nebulae, the unknown fleet gathered. Ships unlike any other, sleek, angular, their surfaces shifting in color and form, moved silently. Their commanders spoke in languages older than the Keth or Zorath, discussing the humans in the Sol system. One said, "They have awakened the artifact." Another replied, "We cannot allow such a force to exist unchecked, but direct assault may be costly." A third, quieter voice said, "Perhaps they are worthy. Perhaps they are dangerous. We must watch and test." Their fleet dispersed, moving closer to the Sol system in hidden trajectories, cloaked beyond any known sensor. Back on Earth, Elena watched as diplomatic messages increased. Some envoys offered alliances. Others delivered threats. and still others simply observed, cloaked vessels remaining silent in orbit, testing the humans' patience and resolve. Elena addressed her council and crew. We cannot predict who will come next or what they will try. But we do know this. The Retribution has proven humans are not weak, and it will prove it again if anyone tries to destroy us. Commander, Geist said, would you like me to run simulated engagements? We can test strategies against multiple enemy types simultaneously. Elena considered this. Do it. But I want realistic scenarios, ones that assume the unknown fleet has technologies beyond our comprehension. The AI's hologram glowed brighter as calculations began. The bridge filled with streams of data, millions of possibilities, simulations of battles, attacks, defenses, and countermeasures. Days turned into weeks. Humanity trained, observed, and prepared. The galaxy waited, whispering about Earth's ancient warship. Then came the first real move. A Keth scouting fleet, smaller than the one defeated months ago, slipped toward Sol. Their intent was clear. Test the humans, probe defenses, measure power. Elena and Geist watched silently. Do we engage? She asked. Not yet, Geist replied. Allow them to approach. Their sensors may reveal their strategies. The Keth ships drew near, their engines glowing red in the darkness. They believed they had learned from their past defeat. Elena's hand rested on the console. They think they can survive a second battle. Commander, Geist said quietly, the probability they will not survive is extremely high. Elena smiled faintly. Then let them learn the lesson. As the first Keth ship approached firing range, Retribution's sensors analyzed every energy signature, every pattern of movement. Every shot fired by the alien fleet was countered by precise shields or redirected energy fields. Within minutes, the scouting fleet had been destroyed, just as quickly as the first, but this time, it sent a clear message to the rest of the galaxy. Humanity was no longer hiding. Earth had awakened, and Retribution was a guardian not to be trifled with. Reports traveled fast. Every observer knew what had happened. A single ship again had crushed an entire fleet. But this time humanity did not celebrate loudly. Instead, they sent out messages of caution. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek war. But if anyone attacks us, the Retribution will respond. In distant nebulae, cloaked fleets observed. Unknown species calculated, empires debated. Fear and respect began to spread. Humanity was no longer the quiet, overlooked race at the edge of space. They were now the measuring stick by which power in the galaxy would be judged. And deep within the core of the Retribution, Admiral Geist whispered, Commander, the galaxy watches. But there is one question I must ask. Do humans truly understand the force they have awakened? Elena looked at him, her eyes steady. We will learn. And when we do, we will decide how to use it, not for fear, not for pride, but for survival and the future of all who live. Outside, the stars shimmered, silent witnesses to a new era. The galaxy had learned to fear, respect, and watch humanity, and Earth, standing proud, was ready to face the challenges ahead. The coming days promised tests that would shake the stars themselves. The unknown fleet, the recovering Keth, and even cautious Zorath observers were all converging. Humanity had survived its first awakening. Now the true question remained. Could it survive the storm that was coming? The Retribution, massive, ancient, and alive, awaited the answer. The galaxy waited. For months humanity had stood as a silent sentinel. The UNSV Retribution orbited Earth, massive and alive, its engines glowing softly, its sensors scanning distant stars. Every fleet, every empire, every intelligence network knew the truth. Humanity was no longer a minor player. They were a force to be reckoned with, yet the greatest test was still ahead. In the uncharted regions beyond the Orion cluster, fleets gathered, old enemies, ambitious coalitions, and mysterious observers. Every faction converged toward Sol, drawn by the legend of the Retribution. They brought numbers, technology, and weapons unseen in centuries. They came not for diplomacy, though they came for a challenge. Earth watched, tense but resolute. Commander Elena Rain stood on the bridge, her eyes scanning the void. Every star seemed to shimmer with threat. Admiral Geist, she said, estimate arrival of combined fleets. The AI's hologram appeared beside her, calm and precise. All enemy units projected to converge within 48 hours. Estimated fleet strength, 10 times that of the Keth Armada we previously destroyed. Probability of conventional victory low. Probability of total deterrence if we act wisely high. Elena's jaw tightened. Then we act wisely. The plan was simple but bold. Humanity would not hide. They would not run. They would face the converging fleets head-on, but on their terms. The Retribution moved into a high orbit above Earth, flaring its energy shields to maximum. Its main weapon systems hummed in perfect synchrony, sending signals across the void that only the most advanced sensors could interpret. The alien fleets, cloaked and hidden, detected the energy signatures and realized the humans were ready. The first strikes were measured probes, small vessels testing shields, scanners probing defenses, missiles aimed to evaluate reaction times. Each attempt failed spectacularly. Energy shields deflected attacks harmlessly. Adaptive defenses analyzed every strike, reprogramming the ship's systems in real time. The humans observed, calm but alert. They were no longer surprised by their own ship. They trusted it. They understood that this was more than technology. This was their legacy. In the distance, a massive cloaked fleet suddenly revealed itself. Dozens of ships, each larger than a small moon, emerged from the nebula. Their shapes shimmered with strange energy fields, colors that humans could barely describe, weapons that defied known physics. Elena took a deep breath.
Geist, what are they?
Unknown origin, the AI replied. Analysis suggests predatory intelligence, highly advanced combat capabilities. They appear to be testing us and waiting for reaction patterns. Elena nodded. Then let's show them humanity. The Retribution's engines flared. Its massive hull rotated, revealing arrays of weapons and energy conduits that pulsed like a heartbeat. The AI synchronized every system. Every turret, cannon, and shield was at full capacity. Commander, Geist said, once we engage, the battle may be unlike anything the galaxy has seen. Elena smiled faintly. Then let's give them a proper lesson. The first shots came within minutes. Beams of unknown energy streaked toward the Retribution, but the ship's shields flared brighter, absorbing and redirecting the force. The crew watched, astonished, as their ancient ship moved like a living entity, predicting enemy trajectories before they were even executed. Targeting patterns suggest they are coordinated, Geist observed. However, they have underestimated human adaptability. Elena leaned over the tactical console. Then let's teach them adaptability. The Retribution fired its main weapons. A blinding blue energy beam cut through the lead vessels of the alien fleet, folding their hulls inward as if space itself had swallowed them. Secondary arrays followed, intercepting missiles, dismantling smaller crafts and disrupting energy shields across multiple enemy ships. In under an hour, dozens of massive vessels were destroyed, many more crippled. Yet the enemy did not retreat. They adjusted, learning from every strike. They were smart, calculated, and relentless, but humanity was smarter. Elena issued her orders with quiet precision. Adaptive countermeasures. Predictive strikes. Target their leaders. Focus on coordination, not destruction. Acknowledged, Geist replied. Engaging advanced protocols. Retribution systems shifted. Its hull expanded energy fields into complex patterns. Sensors created predictive maps of the enemy fleet, calculating every possible action before it happened. Human operators guided the AI, making small adjustments that only humans could perceive. Creative, unpredictable, and brilliant. The alien fleet fired again. Every strike met precise resistance, every assault countered. Ships fell apart like dominoes, their systems overloaded, their energy cores exploding into brilliant flashes of color. Commander, Geist said calmly, if we continue at this pace, total neutralization is projected within hours. However, further attempts may provoke unknown responses from the remaining fleet. Elena's gaze hardened. We finished this. Humanity cannot afford half measures. The battle intensified. Energy storms lit the void, streaks of light tearing across space. The alien commanders realized their errors too late. The humans were not just strong, they were unpredictable, creative, and ruthless in defense. One massive ship attempting a surprise maneuver was caught mid-transition by the Retribution's graviton lances. Its hull bent impossibly, imploding from internal stress. Another carrier attempted to launch escape pods, only to have their paths predicted and intercepted by precise energy nets. In less than 3 hours, the alien fleet was in shambles. Communications collapsed, formations scattered, and even the unknown observers realized the futility of their attack. The universe had learned something fundamental. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans never back down. Finally, silence returned. The debris of alien fleets floated across space. The stars reflected their destruction. Yet the Retribution remained intact, its hull unbroken, its systems humming calmly. Commander Elena Raines looked out at the wreckage. "Status, Geist?" "All enemy units destroyed or retreating. Minimal structural damage. No human casualties," Geist replied. She smiled. "We've done it." "Humanity stands." "Indeed," Geist said. "The galaxy now knows what humans are capable of. History will remember this day." As weeks passed, the galaxy reacted. Empires sent envoys not to attack but to learn. Diplomats, scientists, and historians came to study humanity's methods, its culture, and its technology. The legend of the Retribution became more than fear. It became respect. Counselors on Earth debated the ship's role. Some wanted to use it to conquer, others to guard, and some to hide it away again. Commander Elena Raines addressed them all. "We did not survive to become tyrants. We survived to protect ourselves and others. The Retribution is a symbol, not of war, but of human potential. The galaxy must understand that humans will fight, but they will also lead, inspire, and protect." The Council nodded. Humanity had a voice now. A voice the galaxy could not ignore. In orbit above Earth, the Retribution rested once more. Its systems remained active, monitoring distant stars, waiting for new threats. Children on Earth would look up at the sky and dream of the ship, imagining the courage, ingenuity, and strength of humanity. Admiral Geist spoke softly, almost to himself, as if reflecting on the centuries of history he had witnessed. "Commander, the past fought through this ship. The present has proven itself, and the future is brighter because of it. Humanity has awakened, and it will never be forgotten." Elena placed her hand on the console. "Then let it watch the stars. Let it remember that humans are not weak, that humans survive, and that humans inspire the universe." Outside, stars shimmered like never before. The blue planet below reflected their light. For the first time in centuries, humanity did not feel small. It felt eternal. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When humans awaken, history moves swiftly. Wars end not because of numbers, but because of courage, creativity, and willpower. The UNSV Retribution would eventually return to its resting place beneath Luna Base, a sentinel waiting for a new call. But its legacy would never fade. The stars, the planets, the silent observers of space all knew the truth now. When humans enter a war, it is not about how many fight. It is about what they are capable of.